I'm like nervous to do this for some reason, I don't even know why. Okay, so you guys have to forgive me for this video for two reasons. First, I have a cold, so I'm probably going to be sneezing and sniffing the whole video. And second, you might have guessed by the title of the video, it might be a little gloomy, so hang in there. I wanted to talk to you guys and tell you about my experience with depression. So I finally admitted to myself that I have depression, and the reason why I say that I'll go into in a minute. But I wanted to be really honest with you guys and open up and talk to you about everything I'm experiencing in my life so that you guys are there with me through this whole journey, because you guys obviously see a huge part of my life, and I wanted to open up to you and talk to you about what's going on. And maybe I might be able to help some of you out as well. Depression is something that not many people talk about. It's something that's kind of awkward. I felt weird making this video. Even like anxiety or mental health, anything with that is just so like uncomfortable for people to talk about. But I really wanted to open up and get like a conversation going and see if any of you guys are experiencing this. So let me tell you kind of what I've been going through and what I've been experiencing and what my depression looks like. So I think everyone who is experiencing depression goes through something a little bit different, but some of the symptoms I had is that I was just tired all the time. I wanted to take naps all the time. I was sad for no reason. I had no clue why I was so sad. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I started pushing people away. I hadn't talked to my family in a long time. Close friends, I just like didn't feel like hanging out with them. I never felt like going out to social events. And then it started getting more serious to where I was losing my passion, I was losing my motivation for stuff. I started skipping weeks on YouTube, and I stopped doing YouNows, and I stopped interacting with you guys. And then it got to something a little bit more serious where I honestly lost emotion. I just didn't have any emotion whatsoever. I just felt empty inside. And this is pretty recent. I'm going to go into the timeline of how this all like went down so you guys kind of can see what it looked like for me. So basically for the past 3 years I've had some troubles staying happy and positive. It wasn't anything too serious, and I have been so involved in self-improvement for a big part of my life now. Almost like 6 years I've been really involved in improving myself and reaching goals and setting goals and becoming a better person and staying positive and staying happy and doing everything that I can to be the best person that I can be. So for about 6 years now, I've really had the belief that we create our happiness. Everything that's happening to us is because of what we're doing, and if we want to be happy, we just have to figure out how to get happy and do it. And that was kind of tricky for me because I think if I wouldn't have had those beliefs, I would have accepted that I had depression sooner. So anyways, back to my timeline. 2 to 3 years ago, I started feeling kind of sad. I'd be like angry and grumpy for no reason. I'd just be kind of sad, but I would just like brush it off as just like me thinking negative thoughts or just having a bad day, and I didn't really think anything of it. I think a lot of people have bad days and that's normal. But as time started going on, it started getting more frequent. I'd get more times that I had these sad moods, and for some of the times I had no reason why I was sad. I was just sad for no reason. I was just grumpy and angry for no reason. I'd take my anger out on other people, and I don't know what that was. I was so confused. I was like, why am I doing this? So as time went on, I moved out to LA. I was so excited to be out here and everything was going great. And that's kind of how it's been, honestly, like for a big part of my life. For the most part, I've had a lot of really cool things happen to me. I feel like I'm a really dope person. I'm really proud of myself. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited about, and cool stuff is happening around me, but for some reason I can't get excited about it. And so when I moved out to LA, that's when my depression started to really like kick in, and when I really started to recognize that maybe it might be depression. But honestly, I was in denial because I didn't want to ever admit that I had depression. I didn't think depression was a real thing. I thought that people who said they had depression just wanted attention, or they were using it as an excuse to be lazy. I really believed all that stuff, and I didn't want to ever admit that I had depression. So when I got out to LA, I started getting really bad social anxiety. So I would never want to go out to events because I was so worried about what everyone would think about me, and if I'm as cool as the other people, and all of this like twisted weird stuff. I really got into that place, and so I got medicine prescribed for me thinking that that would help. And the medicine was actually also an antidepressant as well as an anti-anxiety medication. So I was on that for a couple of months. I did not like the way it made me feel whatsoever. I bounced between a couple of other pills, and I didn't like the way any medication made me feel. This might be different for you. I'm just saying my experience. I just didn't like those medications, those prescription medications. I didn't like the way they made me feel. I felt weird being on them, and I felt like a zombie, and I just didn't like it. Oh my god. I don't know if I can make it through this video. Okay, so from there, I got off of my pills. I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think anything serious would happen. My social anxiety was gone. I was doing better. I could go to parties and I didn't care, and I was fine. And I was happy and everything was going great. So probably within the last 6 months is when things started getting really serious. It slowly started with things that I knew I needed to do, I just couldn't push myself to do it. It's kind of hard to explain it, but whenever I was about to do something that was really productive for myself, I would just get paralyzed. I couldn't force myself to do that. Whether it was like eating a healthy meal versus eating ice cream, or going and working out like I used to, or making money like I needed to, like having income coming in. Since I'm living out in LA, it's hard to live out here without money. So these bigger things that were really important for me to do were actually really hard for me to do, and I just got paralyzed whenever I was about to do them, and I have no idea why that happened. Also, within the past 6 months, like 6 months ago, I started to kind of stop talking to my family. My family's back home in Utah, and I'm in LA obviously, and I usually did pretty good at keeping in contact with them, talking to them every once in a while. But I just got to the point where I just had no desire to interact with anyone. So it just wasn't really like me. I'm a really social person. I love to go out and do stuff. I love going on adventures, and I just didn't feel like getting up to really do anything. And then about 3 months ago, I started skipping weeks on YouTube. I stopped interacting with you guys as much as I used to because I loved that. But for some reason, I just had no desire. I had no really emotion behind it, no passion, nothing driving me to do it. And I stopped doing my YouNow broadcasts. I didn't really have control over my career, I guess. And so that obviously wasn't good. And then within the past month, it's honestly just a progression of all of everything that I was explaining, plus this is happening now. So within the past month, I started sleeping all the time. All I wanted to do was sleep. I would just stay at home and sleep. I didn't feel like doing anything. It got to a point where I started feeling no emotion inside, and that started to scare me because I was like, this is not me. I started doing stuff that wasn't like insanely serious, but I just wasn't the nicest to my family and friends, and I basically didn't care what anyone thought. I just had no emotion inside. I usually, like, if I did something, I'd feel guilty or sad, or I'd feel bad for people if someone's hurting, and I try to help them, but for some reason I just had no emotion. I didn't care what was happening, and that started to scare me because I'm like, this is not who I am, this is not me. I'm just like empty inside, and I didn't really like that. So I know this is kind of dragging on, but fast forward to like a week ago, I got to a point where I was just sitting there and I started crying. I had no reason to be sad. I was just insanely sad for no reason, and I'm like, okay, I need to like figure this out. This isn't me, this isn't normal. So I started Googling what I was experiencing, and I think everyone does that. They want to make sure they're not like a crazy person, and I was looking at all the symptoms of depression, and I'm like, okay, if I'm being honest with myself, I really have depression, and I should probably do something about it. Because I think people get to a point where they have two choices. You can either try to get help and figure this out and get on medication, get counseling, do whatever you need to get help, or you can keep going down that dark hole, and eventually it could get to the point where suicide's involved, self-harm, anything like that. I have never really considered myself suicidal. I would never harm myself in any way. For me, my career and all of my dreams and my hopes for myself is such a huge part of who I am. And for me to start thinking things like, I'm gonna quit YouTube, I'm moving back to Utah, I don't care about like living a great life, I just want to be average. I didn't, like, that was like a huge deal for me. For me, that was my form of suicide, because it's like I was killing my hopes and dreams and my future self and everything that I wanted for myself. I was really about to commit suicide in that way. So from there, I knew, I'm like, okay, I promised myself that I was not going to give up until I got to where I wanted to go. And I decided that I need to figure something out. So I made appointments with a counselor. I got on this medication called St. John's wort, which is a natural medication. I started reading this book, which has helped a lot. It's called Love Yourself, Like Your Life Depends on It. And these are kind of all of the things that have helped me to get my hope back. I'm starting to really believe that, okay, maybe I can get better, and maybe it is possible. And that's a huge deal, I think, because I think a lot of people believe that there's no way they'll ever get better. And for me to be able to have that hope again, it's really nice for once. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything. I wanted to open up to you guys, and I really am a huge believer that if you're going through something and you're experiencing something, you can teach other people as well while you're experiencing it. You don't have to be a perfect person and have gone through hell to be able to help other people. I really believe that by me making this video, some of you might be thinking, okay, yeah, I'm kind of experiencing those things and I don't really know what to do. I didn't know it was depression, and maybe, yeah, I might have depression. I just want you guys to get help. I want anyone who's experiencing what I've been experiencing to get better. So I wanted to share a couple of tips with you of what I would do if you're at the point where you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I need to be honest with myself. Obviously, you want to get diagnosed, make sure that you do have depression and that that's what it is. You want to make appointments with like a psychologist or a counselor. If you need to get on medication, you could try meditating, try eating healthier, try reading self-help books, do whatever you can just to get better. Just promise me this, is that you'll make a commitment to getting better and to really focusing on making sure that you're not just going to give up in life. Because honestly, like, if I'm being honest with you, you really can achieve anything that you want. I truly believe that. From the bottom of my heart, I really believe that each individual person has like a light that they can bring to the world, and like we all have such a bright future if we just like follow what we want for ourselves. And what the fudge? So I just want you guys to hang in there. Know that I'm here for you and that I support you and that I love you. And I know for me, it felt like no one understood what I was going through, but just know that there is someone out there who has experienced it and who has gotten through it, and that you're gonna be just fine. I promise you that. So I don't know, I wanted to open up and tell you guys kind of why I've been slacking on the quality of my videos, or why I haven't been interacting with you as much, and just to be open in general about what's going on in my life. And hopefully this will be able to help some of you out as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was really depressing and gloomy, but next week will be better, I promise. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Comment below if you've experienced anything that I was talking about. We can have a healthy conversation. If you've experienced depression and if you've gotten better, talk to other people, interact with people, and just know that you have a huge support system online or with your family or friends. People do care about you and love you. So if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit subscribe right now. I make new videos every week, so I will see you next Thursday. Okay, goodbye!